yourself. You're going on a whirlwind ride inside the eye of a treacherous Florida hurricane. Coming up on PM Magazine, get a fascinating look at the might of one of nature's biggest killers.
Then Marilyn Beck talks to actress Amy Irving about what it's like raising two big babies, 1-year-old Max and husband Steven Spielberg.
And then you'll meet Spike. This lovable English bull is a mad dog on wheels.
We are full of hot air tonight on PM Magazine as we take to the skies above Orlando in hot air balloons from Rosie O'Grady's Flying Circus. Get yourself comfortable and prepare to lift off. I'm John O'Connor.
And I'm Beth Wood. Before you can go hot air ballooning over Central Florida, conditions have to be calm and absolutely peaceful, which is quite a contrast with what we'll begin our show with tonight, the fury of a Florida hurricane.
You know, when we hear about a hurricane here in Florida, most of us want to get out of the way and evacuate. There's a man in Miami who not only doesn't want to get out of the way, he goes in search of the eye of the storm.
When the sky turns a stormy gray and the howling wind starts bending the palm trees, people along the Gulf Coast know the fury of a full-blown hurricane is about to come on shore. Most of them run for cover, but not Richard Horodner. He grabs his video camera, aims his car smack into the middle of the storm, and brings back pictures like these.
When I was about 13 years old, I saw my first major storm right here in Miami. The tide came up here probably 6 or 8 feet. Hurricane Donna came through. We had winds of 102 miles an hour. And to me, the experience was tremendously exhilarating. Since that point, I've always wanted to be where a hurricane hits.
Talk about spitting into the wind. But Richard likes tackling tough assignments. When he's not out chasing storms, he grapples with the tempestuous U.S. tax code as a tax consultant. But just as a baseball fan heads for the ballpark every spring, when hurricane season rolls around in Florida, Richard heads straight for the disaster zone.
Looking due south, it's almost dark. In the eye of the hurricane. I've been chasing hurricanes for 20 years, since 1965. It's 21 years. At first, I was very ginger about it. I would stay away from the coastline. I would never stay in my car over winds of 50. It takes a lot of experience to understand the sequence of events. Last year, I was in the eye of 4 hurricanes. I claim that that's the most anybody's ever been in on the ground in history. Let's see if anybody can top that.
Sometimes, when the wind isn't blowing too hard, Richard will leave his car. Here, he leans into Hurricane Elena's milder 50-mile-an-hour winds to dance a little jig. Still, any big storm can be treacherous. Listen as one of Richard's fellow hurricane chasers calls him over a CB radio and reads off the surging wind speed. Now, some of you might think that planting yourself in the path of a hurricane is a little like throwing yourself in front of a truck. Well, the experts agree. Here at the National Hurricane Center in Coral Gables, they try to discourage people from doing what Richard does.
One of the things that we're concerned about here at the Hurricane Center is people who like to go down to the coast to experience the hurricane. In that case, you're there on the inside of the hurricane, and if the water gets deep enough, you literally are going to lose your life. So it's not a wise thing to go down to the coast to experience the full fury of nature, because the full fury of nature in this case can be deadly.
Last year, at least 9 people drowned in hurricanes, most of them sightseers.
I realized that the danger is there. I'm placing myself in a situation where people can get killed. But I don't expect to get killed. During Hurricane Elena, I drove over a causeway to Barrier Island, which in itself is risky, and the causeway was somewhat underwashed. I drove over on the grass apron to get away from the potential underwash, but there was no way I could be 100% sure that that causeway wasn't going to collapse. When I look at the pictures of that, I think I was crazy to do that and won't ever do it again.
But fear doesn't keep Richard away. He's drawn to storms as a moth is to light. For him, a front seat to nature's fury, staring into the eye of a potential killer, is almost a mystical experience.
When I'm in that hurricane, I realize there's some sort of power that's organized that system, and it's about as close to God as I think I I can feel is when I'm in that storm.